Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn, good wherever you find yourself. This is just truly similar journey bringing you another episode of Power Series. Also, if you're joining us, this is the Power Series, the only show that tries to demystify Power Platform and all its goodness, in the simplest of form for you to understand. And we do this and every Sunday right here on this channel. If this is something you like, please make sure you subscribe and join the family. In today's episode, we're going to take a detour. Yeah, so last week we are doing something on AI, but I got a lot of questions asking the custom component I think I talked about, could we leverage it to do something else? And also other questions pertaining to how do you create cool power apps, the UIs and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to take a detour from the AI series and talk about this, how to show you how to do this in the simplest of form, some tips and tricks that will help you to build cool and awesome power apps. So when we come back from our intro, we will just get right into it. Stick and stay. Yes, we are back. If you're just joining us, this is the Power Series, the show that demystifies everything Power Platform for your convenience, for your understanding, and for your learning pleasure. So, if you're just joining us, thank you very much. And if you're not already a member of this family, kindly, please subscribe. Here, right here. Yeah, here. Yes, kindly, please subscribe. Thanks. Awesome. Thank you for joining the show. My production manager just joined the show. Thank you, production manager. But I think today's episode I'm missing some maybe wine or beer or something. But anyway, yeah. So is this where we make the call for the makeup artist for the show? So we're looking for someone to make me up and make me look very nice. So yeah. Anyways, just kidding. Anyways, thank you for joining the show. So if you like what we do on the show, kindly please subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel and at least get to 1,000 subscribers before the year ends. So please help me make this a reality. Well, in today's episode, we're taking a detour from last week where we started talking about AI in Power Apps. I got a lot of questions about how do I build beautiful UIs that are not just Power Apps controls and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, how could we leverage custom controls, custom components to build something like that? So today I'm going to show you all the tips and tricks and just, one little control that you can use to, do all the crazy stuff. It might feel a bit of you're doing some coding, but trust me, there are a lot of resources online to help you do this if you're lost very easily. So just follow along with me. But always, before we get started, I like to put a couple of things out of the way before we, kick in. The first of which I want to share with you is, let's do this. Let me bring in this, make it big so you can see it. All right, and we can do a full screen. So let's go in here. So the first announcement I have to make, it's on the Global Power Platform Bootcamp 2022. This year's edition in Ghana, we're going to host it by the Accra Power Platform User Group. It's February 18th and 19th, 2020. If you go to the powerplatformbootcamp.com website, you will see a list of the cities and the countries. Pick on Accra. We have URLs out there that would allow you to select, to register for it. And also, if you're interested in, speaking, there's a call for speakers on the website right there as well. So go check that out and submit your call to speak. If you want to volunteer as well, same thing. Just let us know. Hit me up on any of the social platforms or the links in the registration page, and you can be part of this big thing. It's being organized, virtually around the world, and then locally by all the local user groups. So there's going to be a combination of in-person sessions and then virtual sessions as well. So make a date with us. It's February 18 and 19, 2022. So keep it locked. All right. I think that's just about the major announcement I have to share today. So before we get into it, I shared something on custom controls, right? How to build reusable UI components like headers, and I actually even used functions. So if you had a piece of Power FX that you repeat in your Power Apps, you could use custom components to create a custom function that you drop on your scenes, and then reuse them as many times as you want. All right. Now, the next thing is sometimes you just want your Power Apps to look a lot more cooler and not be like just meh, like just it's just like regular components. There's just little you can do with the standard buttons and things that come with Power Apps. However, there are ways you can take this to the next level, and that's what we'll be taking a look at today. So today I'm going to be equipping you with two things. One, how to use the custom component to create reusable customized UIs in your apps, right? And then how you can leverage the same skills to build beautiful UIs. All right. So let's start by first of all talking about some inspiration. So I'm going to switch here, and then we're going to go to our view. So first of all, I'm going to share a couple of places where you can get stuff to use for your UIs. A lot of times people ask me what's my process for building UIs generally, whether it's web, mobile, all that. I take inspiration from other places. So places that I go to, I have App Labs. There is App Labs. There is also Dribble. All right, I think Behance as well. So did I type this one? I think it's just Dribble. Yeah, so there's Dribble. There is even Pinterest. All right. You can actually go to Pinterest as well and look for and all you're doing here, all right, is technically just simply looking for inspirations. All right. So I can say, let's say fitness mobile app. All right, we're looking for a fitness mobile app. So let's see. Yeah, I'm going to show you how to create some of these basic controls, and I'll leave you to go explore and see how you can actually create your own exquisite UIs. All right. Yeah. So let's say we're looking for one. All right. I think I like this, but I'm trying to find one that will give us those exhibits of what I want to share today. So let's say, yeah, I'm going to show you how to create basics, like the button. All right. Some of these cool buttons. So let's see. Yeah, so again, like I mentioned, this is just taking inspiration from some of these. Oh no, you know what? I don't want to be premium anyway, so let's just go ahead and do this. And another site that I also go get content is either Flat Icon or Icon 8. So let's go look at this. Icon 8. Let's look for Icon 8 whilst we're looking at this. Okay, so I think we already have a few UI elements. Okay, let's just use this. Let's open this up. All right. So let's look at this UI. This UI right now, this particular one. So assuming, let's see if we can have like a much bigger UI. This is gonna be huge, man. Okay. No, yeah, I think let's go with this. Okay. Or maybe the last one. Well, there's another one here. Yeah, I want to see one that gives us all the good. Okay. So if you look at this UI, for instance, okay, quite simple, nice logo tag here. There is, something simple here. You have now, look at the buttons. All right. Look at the buttons. Now, to do something like this, okay, to do something like this might not be straight, easily achievable in Power. I mean, the very first two um, screens, it's quite simple and easy for us to do. However, the button, okay, like this, gradient buttons with all that, and look at even, how do you call it? The one with, just the outline. How to create that? This might even be simpler to do in PowerApps because I can just pick a button, no fill, outline, add an icon, and add a text. We'll see how to do this the easiest way. But look at this. There is a shadow around this box. This will be how to pull off in PowerApps, and this is some of the things that I want to show you how to do. All right, let's look at the other one. Let's see. Yeah, this is a straightforward UI. Won't waste time on that. This is also a very straightforward one. I'm trying to look for something that will bring out exactly what I want to share. So let's do that. Okay, make it cool. But I'm going to be leveraging or talking a lot more about gradient, shadows, radiuses, hoovers, and those things. Now, in today's episode, we're going to take a slight look also at CSS inline divs, because they are going to play a role, okay, in creating custom components or creating cool looking UIs. All right, so let's get right into it. Now, I want you to also open, let's go to, I think I opened icon 8 already. So let's open icon 8 right here. I also go ahead and open free icon. No, actually free pick and flat icon, right? Yeah, there you go. So let's open free pick and then flat icons. Okay. Or flat icons. It's just going to take us to, yeah, there you go. All right, this is a cool one. Now, however, let's take a look also at I think this is Adobe Color, right? Let's see this. And the reason why I'm opening this is I want to also be working with colors, and then I can we can look at some of these things, like let's say online gradient. You can do a very quick Google of online gradient generator. So yeah, there you go. CSS background. So let's just have just these two. That's fine. So these are the utilities we'll be using. So let me drop the links, and then we will use them. Don't forget that if you have any questions, you can pretty much ask, and I will do my best to answer. If you're joining us, welcome to the Power series. In today's episode, we're going to be seeing how to create custom UI component that allow us to create cool, how do you call it? That allow us to create cool PowerApp interfaces and user experiences. All right, so that's what we're going to use. So yeah, awesome, great. So now with this set, so let's have our reference. This is our reference image we're trying to play around with. Something as simple as this. There's the first screen, the splash screen. There's this simple one here, and then we have this login, all right, where all the customs is and custom stuff is going to happen. So let's go ahead and let's go to our PowerApps. And what's the name of this app? So this is a fitness, yeah. So it's a fitness app. So we'll probably call it Power Fitness. So we're going to take inspiration from this, but the key thing we're going to draw from is how do we create some of this customized, like look at this gradient button. It will be totally impossible to do this in PowerApps as of now. All right. So we're going to leverage these tricks I'm going to show you to recreate this and use them. And then you can go crazy with it to build any kind of custom UI you want to build or component and can share that. So let's do that. So here we are. It's loading. And yeah, from previous experience, because I'm also streaming on the same system, sometimes it takes a bit of a time to load. So let's go ahead and create a new app. And we're going to use the mobile form factor. So canvas app from blank. We select that. is going to be the phone form factor, and we're going to call it, let's call this Power Fit. So let's call it Power Fitness. Okay, let me create this. Yeah, so if you're joining us, this is the Power Series with yours truly, myself, Samuel Adranyi. In today's episode, we're taking a look at how to create custom UI UX components and UI experiences in PowerApps, leveraging custom controls and some unique elements within PowerApps. All right, so back to our reference. This is our reference app. The first one, if you look closely, the first one pretty much, let's say, is has this white background. All right, and then I see some, how do you call it? I pretty much see some image element here. It looks like, there's it's in the background, very light. So this is where you can leverage. If you have any graphic skills, you can leverage it. If you don't, you can pretty much look for some kind of like an abstract background to use instead of, having to design if you don't. So we're going to use some of the tools, some of the website I've opened to get some of these information. So we know we have 3 screens. So we know we have the splash, we have the onboarding, and then we have the login. All right. So if we go to our Power Apps, we can see this first one here is called the splash. Let's call the splash screen. So this is our splash screen, right? The very first one. And if you look at the reference we're using, is basically just a logo and a tagline and, some background. So let's go to free pick. And I'm just going to do abstract background. All right. I don't want us to spend time doing any graphics, since I'm just giving you the resources you can use to get some of these things. All you're looking for is something that you can easily use. Now, whilst we're waiting for that to load, if you go back to your Power Apps, right, and you select this, there is a background image here. All right. So that is easily attainable. So let's go look at what we have. There are a lot of this. Now, this has some items you can use for free. Others you need to, reference the artists and the authors. Some you need to actually pay for. So be mindful of copyright and do the right thing. I have an account, so pretty much let me actually, this already logged in. So I have an account, so I can download some of these things and utilize. So I don't know, but I kind of, let's see. I kind of like this. What do you think? Anyway, like I said, this is just more of a concept, so we won't spend that much time trying to, so maybe we should just go for this for now. So I'm going to open this. Now, I'm going to show you different ways. We've not even got to the peak of what we want to do, but this is part of it. This is part of helping build. I just want us to lay the emphasis that we can get to how to leverage it. After we create this, I'm going to point out some of the things and the challenges, and then we'll go straight into building. So let's put this on a desktop for now, or you know what? Let's just put it in there. Let's just create a new folder and call it show assets. Okay, we're going to put it in there. So let's save this. That should have been saved. Let's go here. And whilst we're doing that, we'll also go to, we can decide to go to this one, and then we'll say fitness. We're just trying to look for some logo we can use for fitness. Very simple. We'll just build the first one. So let's just say fitness and then search. Nothing crazy, nothing extra, Very simple till we get to building the actual thing. So If you're joining us, thanks for joining. I hope your day is going pretty well. So, from fitness assets, I think I do have some. And fitness is not just about muscle, so I'm tempted not to go for that. Yeah, it's also is a combination of things. I'm trying to find a logo that literally or pretty much encompasses all of it, but I think for the sakes of, you know, for the sakes of, okay, let's see. You know what? It'll just let's see, health. Let's try health. Mm, mm, mm. So let's see. Okay, assuming, let's just assume that, for just purposes of time, we want to stick to one of these icons. All right, I think I like this, so let's just go for this. And free download. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and do an SVG if I can get an SVG. Why not? Okay, so I don't. I thought I logged in. Anyway, let's just go PNG and do a free download. I have access, but for the sake of time, I just don't want to log in. So we are downloading that. In the meantime, the background that I added is, let's see. I'm just going to extract them in a folder right now. So okay, so that is done. So we have an icon and then we have a background. So let's go back to PowerApps. And let's assume that I might not need, no, I'll leave it open just in case. So the first part, okay. So two things. Now I have the image. So let me open the image so you see. So if we check the folder, this is the image, right? I have the picture of it and I can decide to use it. So looking at the form factor, I actually want to rotate it this way. Okay, so it's in the form factor this way. So I'm not sure if this took effect. So maybe I would have to open it in one of the editors. Okay, yeah, there you go. It actually took effect. Cool. Awesome. So now, if I came here, two ways. If you look to the right here, all right, I can set the background image. But one thing to note, I have little control over that. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So if I go to background image and I say add the image, and we go here, production, show, show asset. And then we go to the background and I pick this image. Okay, so let me actually even rename it. Let's rename this to BG. Okay, and I select BG and I open. Now, this is what's going to happen. Whatever the opacity, whatever there is to that image, I'm just going to get the full of it. Okay, I'm just going to get it that way and I can't modify it. Your other option will probably to be, you know what, why don't you take it into some graphics application and then add up your opacity and add all those, all the other stuff you want to add, right? That would be the only option. So I just want to show you the limitations you have with this and the best way, or a better way to do it so you can have some level of control of the images you add. And also be mindful of the performance of the application. So you don't want to put in like so high res files that it takes forever to load. I'm having a similar experience here because I'm streaming on the same machine and stuff like that, so it's taking a bit of time. Now, one of the controls or components we're going to use to achieve some of these custom things is the HTML text. right? Now, what this does is that it allows us to add inline CSS or inline HTML to define our controls. So we're going to fuse the HTML text control and custom component to build the custom parts of our application. And then don't forget we talked about we're able to add how do you call it? Input parameters and output parameters, right? But this time it's just going to be inputs to define what we want. So take note of that. This is taking forever. I feel like not that it's not responding and all that. Now, so HTML text control allows us to also add, pretty much once you can add an HTML inline CSS, you can do things like the shadows, the gradients, the border radius, the color, and pretty much that is a source or the whole thing to creating custom UIs. All right. So let's get into it. I think this is just taking a bit. At this point, we already have the reference, so we're just trying to do something like this. So let's see if I cancel this. And please keep your questions. If you have any question pertaining to it, let me know, and I will try to answer them. Let's close this. Okay. I think it is almost there. Come on. I think so that I believe the file is big. It's not compressed. It's just like it's a big file, so that's why it's rolling out on me like that. So we are going to go into it. So one of the questions people were asking about this is, well, if you're adding an HTML, is it that you're going to use JavaScript to trigger the on-click event? No. So that's what I'm saying. There is some trickery and illusion that you combine to make this happen. All right. So yeah. So BG is there. Okay. Well, it might take a while. Now, if you look down here, there you go. You see that now. Look at that. So this is how it looks like, and you realize that even in terms of scale, it's not filling it up, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing I can do. It's so saturated. There's nothing I can do about it. Now, if you look at the bottom here of your of your designer, you can check this to say this. This is telling us that you're on the splash screen, but this is not what we want. If you look at it, this just won't work. So I'm just going to click none. This takes out. Then you're going to use media, and then use an image. All right. So with the image control, you have certain properties that allow you to, in most ways, control this. Okay. And this is what I want us to look like. Let's see. Where is that? Yeah, the transparency. All right. The transparency, if you can't see it, this is it. The transparency option is what we'll be using. So all you need to do, same thing, just make sure that you have the dimensions for, the app the way you want it. You go to the image, and because it's already been added, you select it. There you go. And then we can use, I would go for stretch so that it fills the whole thing. And then in the transparency, I can do something like 80. Let's see. And pretty much that. Let's try something. Let me do Let's do that. Okay, you know what? Let me take this out here. Oh no, what did I do? Okay, so I need to make sure, yeah, this goes out here. So right now, let me do, Actually, it's in the decimals of 100. Sorry. So let me do this. Let me bring this here a bit. And then instead of the 1, let's do 0.5. And let's change the mode. Okay, there you go. You can see that if I do 0.8. 0.8 to be 80. All right. So you realize that as with this, I'm able to control the opacity to give me something along the lines of this. You can see there's something light here. That's just all I want, right? So we can probably say, 8.5. Let's toggle out. Yeah, I think I like this. This is fine. Let's just keep it this way. Then I'll add another image. This time, if it will come to the center, and you see you have those guidelines there to help you to center it right there. And if you look at the reference we're using, it's just the logo. All right. So this is what I have. And just reduce it a bit. Okay. Yeah, there you go. And the same way. All right. So you go and then you select the image. I'll add the image. And let's go to show asset. And then this is what I want to add. I click open. This shouldn't take a lot of time because it's quite simple. It's not as huge as the background. Okay. So, so this gives you an idea of how to easily add images and all that to it. Nothing crazy, right? Simple, straightforward. So if you look at this, right? If you look at, bring it, I think it has to be a bit here. Good. And then at this point, I'll just add a label somewhere here. We can bring the label down here. And we'll center this and maybe do it semi-bold. And then we'll change the text to power, POW, and then power fit. Yeah, that's what I want to do. There you go. We can move this a bit up, maybe somewhere here. And there you go. If you look at this reference, nothing crazy, right? If you feel this has to be a bit bigger, well, it's quite simple. You can just go ahead and maybe, change the font size, as you can see right there. If you want it to be bold, you can just change it to bold, and there you go. All right. So, ideally, all right, creating the UIs with colors, so backgrounds and images, very simple, straightforward, nothing crazy. Now, let's come back to the reference. Take a look at, first of all, this shadow, all right? The box here, the shadow around it, and this particular button, all right? So with this done, we're not going to share this. Let's move on. Let's add a new screen, another blank one. And then this time, let's just jump and call this the login, all right? So we're going to call this the login screen, all right? Now, you've seen already how to add the background, so you can pretty much, and again here, you could create a background component and then bring it in here, and that repeats it. You don't need to stress yourself to create something else, so that's fine. So here will be the same thing. You put an image here, you put some text here. So let's skip this, that's fine. Now, let's go to the logon page, all right? So for the logon page, I know that you need to bring in that background, so we can bring it in. Not a big deal. So for the sake of time, I'll just go here, and I think this is the first one, all right? So I'm going to bring the two images into the login screen. I'm not using a control here for the sake of time, I'm going to add a control. So if you look at the here, the logging is up there, and then we need to do this. All right, so let's go in there. So we're going to make this a little smaller. And then we're putting this here, right? Somewhere there, top here. Sorry. Okay, then now we need to have this, there's like a rounded rectangle with shadow in there before the other things come, right? Your first approach here would be, okay, how do I create this? You might probably would have gone here to icons, okay, and gone all the way down where you have something like, yeah, there you go, like a rectangle, right? And then you would try to put, so there you go. So you try to, let's say, also try to center this. Yes, and then you do something like this, and then you do something like that, and you do something like this. Okay. All right. There you go. And then maybe, we'll try to center this again. All right. Now, you would do this, and the first thing you would do is you say, because it's white, I'm filling it with white. That's fine, right? Let's take a look at this again. So it's white, rounded shadow, right? So you've set it to white. There you go. Now there's border, right? That's just about it. There's a border here. Let's go to the advanced and see what we have. Design. There you go. Border. Focus border thickness, border style. It's a solid border, border color, border fill, hover. There's a fill. There's tab index. Pretty much, that's what you get. All right, that's what you get. There's no border radius. So how do you achieve this roundness? So that's a first challenge. All right. So this will not work. Now, let's look at the batting, all right? And then we can start looking at some of the things. Now, you would want to put a batting here. So let's drop a batting in there. Now, the same way, if you look at this reference we have, look at this nice gradient from this color to that color. And, it's clickable, it's rounded and all that. Let's see what you can do with a standard button here. So this is a button here, right? Let's make this a little big. So here, obviously, I can change the text, right? So let's just say sign up. Sign up is the text in there, right? I can go ahead and change the color. Let's change the color to something, that probably will just match what we have up there. All right, that's okay. It might not be too, then at least this gives us border radius. So I can even do a 15 border radius. All right. And that, gives me that, gives me a rounded, the rounded experience. Let's increase the border radius a bit. Let's go like 20. Okay. And let's click outside too. So you can see that, at least this is giving me something. But if you look at the fill, right? Custom fill, I can set, the only thing I can do here is set the color, right? Is set the color. And then, let me take it somewhere here, all right? Is set the color and set the opacity of the color. All right. Pretty much that's just it. There's no radius, there's no gradient, there is nothing. All right. So in this case, the option to move from this kind of color to that color won't work in our case. And in this case, the batting is not useful. Not entirely. We're going to need this batting. So let's keep it somewhere here. Now, because when you want to, when you click this button, you want something to happen. All right. You want something to happen. So we'll keep this here. Now for the fun part. in order to achieve the roundness of the box and all this cool UI, we are going to leverage on the HTML. Where is that? Where is that? Where is that? Address. Where is that? Let's go here. There you go. The HTML text. This is the secret sauce. Now, the HTML text is the one that's going to allow us, to pretty much do all the cool stuff we want to do. This allows us to enter, as you can see, HTML, constructs to achieve a lot of things. So things like your hover, your border radius, and all the cool stuff, we can do them with it. Now, let's start doing something for you to see almost immediately how this works. All right. So now there's a little caveat to this. When you're using the HTML text, you need to understand that anything that you would have ideally, used double quotes for, all right, in HTML, right? You'd have to change that to single quotes. So for instance, because you're wrapping the whole text in double quotes right here, all the individual, properties, you need to change them to single quotes. All right. So take a look at this. We can start, we can pretty much just start baby steps. All right. So all we are doing here, let me take out, let's see, the base. Let's just do this. Let's cut this out. And that's it. And let me bring this here. I'm just bringing some of my snippets in there. All right. So background color is white, right? 000. All right. Now, pretty much you're like, I'm not seeing anything here. What's happening? There's nothing in here. So basically we've started with a div, and this is where the story becomes interesting. Just a sec, hold on. So let's do this. You would want to put this here, and let's bring this out here. There you go. So I'm going to start adding some stuff to it. So background color, we're using RGB, right? So you can see 000, and that gives you that. Let me bring something along the lines of, where is that? So let me get rid of this. All right. So we have our div here. We have our style, and this is the style. All right. We're okay. Now I'm going to bring in the box shadow. All right, let's bring in the box shadow here. So as you know, we're just going to bring this out here and do this. There you go. And let's see. Let's copy this here. I think my copying is okay. So there you go. So let's add this. Come on. Yeah, there you go. So all I have done, if you look at this, I have recreated, right? I have recreated this. Look at that. The rounded corners and the shadow and all that. So let's walk through this. Quite simple. So the div, which is an HTML, object, we're styling it with the background color of RGB 000, which is white, and that's why I opened the Adobe color. We'll go back to that. And then the box shadow around 1 pixel to, so pretty much I'm defining the box shadow and the color of the shadow and the the how do you call it, the opacity of it. So if this is R and I do something like 255, okay, RGB alpha, I'm expecting some change. So let's do this. Box shadow is fine, margin is fine. So let's say the width, let me make the width here Let's say, let's use 500 pixels. And then, yeah, for now, let's just leave the height. We can leave the height. So you can see that the change is taking effect, right? Border radius 30 is fine. Let's make the width 600. All right, let's make the width 600. 600. All right. So it looks like 600 might be too much. So let's do 580. Let's see where 580 takes us. Okay, let's do 550. 550 should be okay. Let's see. 530. Let's just do 500. All right, cool. So look at this. So right now, with the HTML text object, okay, with the HTML text object and some CSS, some inline CSS, look at that. I have been able to achieve, okay, I've been able to achieve a simple, a simple but well, look at that, nice radius and stuff. If I want to reduce the radius or increase it, I can make this 20. And I should see that also, take effect. There are some margins as well. If I want to give them margins, that's fine. I have a margin all around of 20 pixels. All right. So right now, look at what I have done. Quite simple. All right. Very easy, straightforward, nothing crazy. Now, using the same analogy, I can go ahead and create another. So the trick here now, as you're seeing, is to use the HTML text, okay, to generate the background that you want. So for instance, if we want to use this, if you want this to represent I could equally even add a button in here, right? I could add a button in here and use if I want to. But this is where it gets interesting. Now, with this, I can layer on top of this button. All right. I can put this button in here. And all I'll do is I'll try to match the details of the button in terms of the height and the weight of the button to this one. All right. And then add all the cool stuff I want to. But not to be in a hurry, not so much. Let's see the other things we can do with the gradient. All right. So right now, let's do this. So I can pretty much do, let's change this. Instead of the background color, let's just do this. Let's just change this to background. All right. And let's see, instead of the RGB, let me just copy, or let's go to, where is our Adobe? There you go. Right. No, we don't need it all. So let's look at this. I want to use this color. Or let's look at the color here. So I was trying to use this color, but let's just go with one of the colors in the app. So let's go back to the Adobe Color View. This just helps us to pick complementing colors to do stuff. So our main color should be somewhere here. Let's see this. Let's do complementary on the side here. And okay, so I can see two things happening here. So I can say I want to transition from this to that. Is that okay? Now, to do that, I can now implement what we call gradient, because if you look at this particular button here, it's a gradient. It's a linear gradient from one color to another. All right. So how do we implement that using the HTML? Simple. We need to add some gradients to it, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So to add a gradient, I'm going to use a background and set that gradient. All right. There are different ways you can go about it, but I'm going to implement it this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this here, and let's change the height for this for 1. Let's make the height, let's say 100 pixels. Okay, so that's the height for this one. I'm just doing this so I can actually copy and put another instance here. So there's a second instance of it, all right? So now this time, so what you want to do here is instead of, we're going to use a linear gradient, and I'm going to copy this, all right? And then replace the background. So if we take the background out, there you go, right? So we're going to replace the background. Look at that. So you realize that now I use the linear gradient starting from this color to this color, right? And then because you're starting from one color to another, I'm fading from this color to another, and then this is the percentage. So let's go ahead to our color wheel, and you can see the hex colors here. So let me copy this one, E611. Let's copy this one, coming here. And that's the angle. So it's coming from a 90, it's doing a 90-degree angle. All right. So this is the first one. You can see moving from here. And then we would go to this. We want it to go to a lighter version. So this is an F. And then I'll represent it here. So take a look at that. So all I have done here is saying that I want to use, let me zoom in for you to see how the gradient works. So the background, I want to use a gradient, all right? And this is the definition of the gradient. It's a linear gradient at 90 degrees, starting from this color with a 0% opacity all the way to this color with an 80% opacity, right? Pretty simple. I couldn't have done this directly within, you can see this. So now take a look at this. I now have a background, or like a background for me to put my text on, my button on, to do any cool thing I want to do. All right. Now let's take a look at this. So you see this button here. The button. Let's look at the button details. So let's push this up here. So it's 464 by 92. That's a dimension of the button, right? So 464 by 92. So what I can do is that for this one, I can also go ahead and say, hey, you know what? Your width, I can still leave it at 500 and then 100. So there are spaces around it. So I want it this way. Now, with that done, this is what I can do. I can now bring in my button right in here. All right. And let's do this. Let's bring it up in terms of the order. So reorder, bring to front, right? So yeah. Now, so the button is in front. Now, with the button in front, now what I can do is select it and make sure I am changing, right, the fill of the button to nothing, right? And then select it, and then also the border to none. So if you look at this now, this is a button, all right? This is a button that is perfectly resting in this. So now I can actually click on it and do unselect. Do you see that? Now, how do we now combine what we've just done? So we now know we can do this. So let's move this up here. Now, so now we have a button here, okay, in there, cool, just like we wanted. However, how do we combine what we've just done into something we can reuse? This goes back to our conversation of the reusable component. So all I'm going to do here, let's look for the dimension of this entire thing. I think is this one. Yeah, we can pretty much close it up a bit. Yeah, maybe here. So if you look at the dimensions of this, what do we have? So the dimensions of this, where are you? Yeah, 5, 4, 6. Let's do this. Let me just put it somewhere here. So 546 by 15. 2. All right. So this is a dimension of this. So let's go ahead and do something. Go to component. All right. And then new component. And we're going to call this component. Did I press it? I think I pressed it. Okay. So we're going to call this component custom button, right? And then we're going to change the dimension of it to match what we just did. And that will be 546 by 152. There you go. And then let's go here. And I'm going ahead. I'm going to copy this button here and this. We're going to actually, let me cut it. And then bring it into the component. And let's paste it here. There you go, there you go, there you go, go. Let's paste it here. And yep, there you go. So now, take a look at this. I can go ahead and just fine tune this just to make sure. So all I'm trying to do is I want to make sure that my button is covering, you know, probably edge to edge of it. And I can actually I can go ahead and even size, you know, the radius of my button if I want to, because I can do border radius of my button. All right. So let's say I'm doing a 30 because that's the same I'm doing for it. So now look at this. I have a gradient button, which I couldn't have done, you know, directly in Power. Now, how do I get this text to change? Do you remember that we could do input properties and output properties for custom component? There you go. So now I can go ahead. All right. I can go ahead now and create one and call this button text. Okay. This will be an input and is a text. And then what do? Create. All right. Then I can go ahead and say that for this button, okay, there you go, the text, all right, the text of the button should be equal to, and how are we calling this? We are calling it is what? Custom, yeah, custom button dot, what property is this? Button text. All right, there you go. So that is it, saved. Now, so this means that if I should put this custom control, this custom button we've created, right? So now let's go back to, where is that? So now let's go back to our scene. Okay, now we can delete this. So if I go here and I say now I want to add a custom control, we just go to custom and then custom button. Look at that. So I put it here and then I can give it a name. I can call this sign up. Okay. Custom button, whatever name I want to give to it, that's fine. And then I can go in there and select the button text and change this to sign up. And look at that. It's changed. Isn't that cool? So today I can go ahead and I can go and add another custom one, you know, and look at that. Uh-oh. We messed it up. So let's undo this. Undo, please. Undo. So let's select this. I don't know why when well, obviously you are saved and published. Okay, so this is the second image. Custom button 1, sign up button. Okay, so let me delete it. And let me move this here. And then I'm going to add another one. I'm going to add a custom one, custom button. And I'll bring it here. All right. And we'll select the text, button text. And then we'll call this one sign in. Okay, look at that. Now, so this is how simple it is to use the HTML text object with some CSS and with some inline CSS and HTML to create a cool custom button, right? Now, as if this is not enough, you can actually go ahead and make this even more customized. What if I want to change the color, the gradient color? So I can do different contours and change it. Now, let me show you how easy it is to change it. So let's go back to the custom component and then select the HTML text and let's expand this. All right. Now you recollect. So let's go ahead here and open the where's that? Yeah, HTML text. So you realize that the degree, right? The degree of the gradient, the starting color, the opacity, the ending color, and the opacity, right? You realize that we can, and even the radius, we can make all these things configurable. All right. I'm going to simply start with this. Okay. The color. So in order to make this very simple, all right, in order to make this very simple, what you want to do is, first of all, let's go ahead and in the properties, let's go ahead so we can add something like radius angle. Okay, and this will be an input, and yeah, we can still keep it as a text. It doesn't make any difference. All right, so we create this, and then I'm going to add another one and call this start color, and this time it's also going to be an input, but and again you can make it a text, all right, because you're going to provide a text color, but I want to make this into a color because I'll be passing a color to it. Okay, so and then we create, and then we can add another one and call this end color, and this will be type of a color, and then create, and then let's do this. So let's do the start opacity. Yeah, this can be a text. It doesn't, it doesn't, so we can just leave it the way it can be. It can be a number and all that, but I'll just leave it as a text. All right, and I'll explain why. Then we'll have the end opacity also as a text, and then we'll leave it here. So what have we done? We've created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 input properties. Button text, we've seen this. So we're adding the radius angle and the start color, the end color, start opacity, and end opacity. So now let's go back to this object. So this is why we're trying to do this. Now, all we're doing here is now we want to parameterize this to allow for you to provide values for the degrees, the start color, how do you call it? The opacity, the start opacity, the end color, and the end opacity. All right. Even if you like, we can even make this more, how do you call it? The radius also configurable. All right. I'll leave that for you as a homework to go try out. So for the sake of time, let's just start with let's do the angle, the start color, and the opacity. All right. Now, how do you make this? How do you make this actually configurable? Very simple. Let's do this. To do this, because I'm going to make this configurable, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to come here, end the quote, put an ampersand. All right. Come here again, put an ampersand, and then closing quotes. All right. So anything I put in here will be configured. So the same thing for here, for the color. All right. So for the color, I know that because it's going to use a hex. So you know what? For the sake of the demo, I'll give you a homework to make it a color, but we're going to change it to text, and there's a reason for that. So in that case, again, we're going to close this, put an ampersand, another ampersand. No, let's do this. So this is going to be the color. All right. And then we'll put another ampersand, and then we'll do this. All right. So again, what's happening is that anything between these ampersands will be treated, okay, as a variable. All right. So let's do this. So we can even start with the angle. So here, I'll just go ahead, and this one is going to be the custom, the name of the component dot. Do you remember what the property was? No, was it? I think it was supposed to be gradient angle. We did it radius angle. All right. So don't worry. We'll just keep it there. Radius angle. All right. So you have the radius angle, and there you go. Okay. As of now, nothing has been added to it. So you know what? Let's actually give it a good. Let's edit it well. Let's manage it well. All right. Let's manage it well so that we don't end up having. Okay, so let's go here. So this is actually to be gradient. This is a gradient angle. All right. And yeah, this can be text. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, so let's save this. Yeah. That's fine. So also, I now want to change the colors. So let's change the colors to text, because for now I want us to just be passing text to it. So yeah, we're making everything text for now. So let's change this to text. Okay. Awesome. So now let's go back to the HTML. So now, if you look closely, I'm saying that now the angle of the gradient, I want it to be what? There you go. Where is it? Gradient angle. Yeah, this one. Yeah, so gradient angle. Yeah, so that's it. Let's save this. So all I'm saying is that now the angle of the gradient, I'll be passing that in. And for you to determine what angle, the radiant, sorry, the gradient should happen. And then I'm also going to do the start color. All right. So let's do this. So what you need to do is to put double quote ampersand here, because you're adding. Let's do this. And then you put another ampersand here, and then you put the rest of the double quote here. So I want everything to change to at least red, so I know that that has changed. Okay. If it doesn't, let's do this. Okay, so the whole of this. Okay, so there we go. Yep. Awesome. All right, so now let's save this and go. We're just testing with the angle. So let's go back to our scene. Now, where we have, you can see that now you don't see anything because there's no angle has been defined. But if I select this and I go ahead and say the gradient angle, right? And I put in 90. Do you see that? Now let's go here and let me change the gradient angle on this one to 30. Now I'm not sure you can see it because of the colors. It's it actually changed the angle of the gradient. You don't probably see it well, but so to make you see this, let's go and try to change either the start color or the end color and make that one also configurable. And you can see how you can manipulate and create custom UIs with this. So let's quickly do this and yeah, expand this. So this is the start angle degrees and yeah, here. So I can actually, so what we can do is let's say we ender this here and then we put this here, job date, and then we started to do this again. Cool. And then now I'm going to get rid of the whole of this. All right. So now at this point, it's going to be, what do we call the custom is what custom button dot, this one is about the start color. So let's go see if they have something for us. Yeah, there you go. It's taking a little bit, but yeah, start color right here. Yeah, it's taking a bit of time for it to load, but that's it. So let's save. So we have customized the gradient angle, and then the start color, right, in a component. So now, anytime I can now, utilize this. Now, let's go here. We've saved this. Let's go back to our screen. And then now let's go to, the whole Adobe thing. And let's imagine I wanted to start from now this color, right? Something like a green. So all I need to do is for this one, select it, go here, and then we should see the start color. And the start color here is on the text, which is this. So because it's a color, you need to remember it's a hex. You need to remember to put this here. Do you see that? So it's starting from this color to that color. And then if I go here, let's pick another one, let's look for something that, so let's use this. And then let's say for this second one, the start color is going to be, so here you would, if you want to use, so because it's a hex color, put the hash here. It's going to take a while for it to process, and because I'm still using it to stream, so pretty much a bit slow, but it's going to change. So we give it some time, and there you go. Come on. This should change. Oh, sorry. So look at that. It didn't see the hash. There you go. All right. So you can see how interesting this is. So look, I've created two unique button styles from, which are completely, not your regular button style. Put them in a control, and now you can use them, to pretty much do anything you want to do. Very interesting. Now, your homework, which I'm going to give you, is that try to see if you can change the other properties. And quickly, some of the properties you can use with this, like I mentioned, is any inline CSS. All right. So talk of inline CSS, gradient. You've seen me do gradient. You've seen me do border radius. Actually, let's try this. Let me show you something. Let me show you something really, really, really cool that you can do. All right. So let's go back to the component. I mean, it's a cool way of using border radius. So, if you look at the, yeah, border radius, you see they are this time they're doing 20 all around. Now, check this out. I can say I am doing, where is that? I can say I'm doing 20, 0, and then 20, and then another 0 pixels. And let's save this. It's taking a while, but Let's do this. Now check this out. Do you see the radius? Maybe let me zoom in for you to see. Do you see what I just did? I created a radius where the border radius starts from the top left. So 20 pixels from here, 20 pixels from here, 0 pixels here, 20 pixels here, and then 0 pixels here. All right. So that's how I just use the border radius. So it goes in this direction. It comes this way, then that way, and then goes that way. All right. So that's what I've done here. So this is it. Let's go back in there for you to see. So this is it. This is the border radius. So I'm saying 20 top left, 0, 20, 0. All right. So this is the radius I have defined. I can go ahead and save this. And now when I go back to my app, and again, you can pretty much change the whole of this thing. So look, you can go creative as anyhow you want. You can make all these things configurable and change the border radius, change whatever I want to do. You just need to define, the core of your, of your controls. All right. Awesome. Well. With this done, let's see. Let's go here and check that out. Give me a sec. Yep. Yeah, there you go. So there's a little thing with the sound. And we're back. So check this out. So look at what just happened. So we've gone ahead because I tweaked this. Now look at the cool border radius that I have. Well, that is all time will permit us today to do. Don't forget, you can always watch this again live on my YouTube channel even after the stream has ended. So this is how you can create cool custom component that you can use to create, cool UIs. So the homework I'm going to give to you is that take a look at this. I'm going to share the URL to this particular UI, and I want you to use all the tips and tricks I've shown you using the HTML text here to create custom buttons and UI. So it's the same thing now. You can use the same thing to create things with big backgrounds and put your things on it, put text on it, put your writings and things on it. So with the HTML text, you can go berserk. I'll try to add more content on my blog just to illustrate some of the things you can do with it. But this is how easy it is to leverage it and add a lot of content to it. So till I come your way again next week for the continuation of the AI and PowerApps, stay safe, stay cool, be safe, and catch you again next week.